So could America's top open-wheel racing series, IndyCar, actually hold a race on the historic National Mall in Washington, D.C.? Well, there's this explosive new proposal to do exactly that. But wow, is it a plan that's driving a wedge right through the racing world and Capitol Hill?
Okay, let's really dive into what this is. We are not talking about a simple parade lap here. The idea is to stage a full-blown, high-speed IndyCar street race right in the heart of the nation's capital. Imagine cars weaving past historic monuments, all to celebrate America's 250th birthday. It's ambitious, to say the least.
And look, this isn't just some fan rumor. IndyCar has officially confirmed they're looking into it. But you got to pay attention to the language they're using here. Exploring feasibility, highly complex. They are signaling right from the jump that they know this is a massive, massive undertaking.
And that right there is the central question, isn't it? On one hand, you have this potentially iconic, super patriotic event. But on the other, you have what looks like a logistical and political minefield. So let's break down exactly what's standing in the way.
First things first, before we even touch the politics, let's just look at the sheer practical challenge of making this race happen. The scale of it is just mind-boggling. You know, most new street circuits take years of planning. This proposal is for August 2026. That gives organizers an incredibly tight window to turn these historic, public DC streets into a safe, high-speed racetrack. That's a huge ask. And this slide really shows you the challenge from every angle. You've got the construction issues. I mean, where do you even put the pits and the paddock without paving over the grass on the National Mall? Then there's the human cost. This would create a brutal 5-race stretch for the crews, which would be an immense strain. It's really no wonder that IndyCar's own CEO has already called it a long shot. And this comment from a fan on Reddit just captures that skepticism perfectly. You know, even for the most die-hard racing fans, the practical side of this whole thing, it just doesn't seem to add up. But hey, the logistical nightmare, that's only half the story. There is an even bigger, more complex obstacle. And it lies right in the heart of American politics, Capitol Hill. So this is the crucial point right here. It is currently illegal to do this, period. Every single car on that grid is basically a rolling billboard, and there is a federal law that explicitly prohibits that kind of advertising on Capitol grounds. So for this race to happen, Congress would literally have to pass a new bill just to grant an exception. And this slide, this just perfectly captures the deep political divide on the whole issue. On one side, you have the Department of Transportation seeing this as a great patriotic celebration and a tourism boom. But for some Democratic aides, the idea is just absurd. They see it as a distraction from way more pressing issues that would also put a massive strain on the Capitol Police. It's a classic DC stalemate. So for the IndyCar series itself, this whole thing becomes a really high-stakes gamble. The potential reward is massive for sure, but the risk of getting caught in all that political crossfire is just as huge. The upside here is crystal clear. As this fan points out, the exposure would be absolutely unprecedented. Putting Indy cars on national TV, racing past the Lincoln Memorial? I mean, come on, that's an image that could elevate the series to a whole new level. But here's the flip side. Another fan warns that getting so closely tied to a political administration, doesn't matter which one, could alienate a huge chunk of the fan base. For a lot of people, this race crosses a line between sports and politics that they really just don't want to see crossed. And this isn't happening in a vacuum. There's already a tense history here. Just last August, the administration promoted a new immigration facility using AI imagery of an Indy car. The car had ICE branding and, get this, used the number of Pato O'Ward, this series' only Mexican driver. IndyCar quickly shot that down, calling it an unauthorized use of their brand. Then this year, the DC race proposal was promoted with a video that was heavily criticized for its AI-generated imagery, once again tying the series to a specific political agenda. So you can see, it's complicated. So with these immense logistical hurdles, a political stalemate, and a PR tightrope to walk, where does this leave the dream of a DC Grand Prix? When you just lay it all out, the decision is incredibly tough. I mean, the pros column is filled with everything a racing series could ever want. Massive exposure, a new East Coast market, a huge high-profile event. But the cons are just as powerful. The risk of the event being seen as politically motivated could damage the brand's apolitical appeal for years and alienate sponsors who probably don't want to wade into those waters. Ultimately, this is way more than just a question about one race. It's about what IndyCar wants to be. Is the potential glory of racing on the National Mall worth navigating this logistical and political minefield? And maybe more importantly, is it worth potentially redefining the series in the eyes of fans, sponsors, and the public? The path they choose won't just determine the fate of one weekend. It could very well set the course for the future of the entire sport.